Hi, everybody. I'm James, and welcome back to Storytime with James. Make sure you like, subscribe, and leave me a comment if you like. All right, this one's called Stan is Leaking Again. Yes, this story is about Stan. This was when I was a manager at a job that I was at. I was manager on duty, and Stan happened to be working there. Now, Stan, I wasn't exposed to Stan that much. I would see him in passing when I walked through, but I didn't get a chance to talk with him or nothing. Y'all got to excuse me. Every time it rains and stuff, and it's been raining since yesterday here. It's been raining, pouring down. Every time it gets raining, my nose do crazy stuff. So, excuse me. So, and they said that Stan was a little prejudice, but I didn't see it. He didn't seem prejudiced to me. He seemed cool to me. Anyway, Stan would all of a sudden people start staying away from the office. When Stan was in the office, everyone would leave, and he would sit there, you know, like the dispatch office. People would call him. He would answer the phone and stuff like that. So then all of a sudden nobody would stay in the office with him, where other people they would be in the office. Matter of fact, you got to run some of them out of there when other people are in there. They would sit in there with them and stuff like that, but nobody was sitting there with Stan. So one day I went into the I had to go into the office for some paperwork about something, and it was cold outside. It was cold outside. So the heat was on in there. And it smelled terrible in there. It actually smelled like, dry blood. So I was looking around. I said, "What is that smell?" He said, "I don't know, man. It's probably something stepped in something." So I'm looking at my shoes and stuff like that. So I got out of there, got out of there. Then one of the other employees started talking about him. They were standing around talking about the smell. So of course, y'all know what's going to happen. They was going to appoint me to talk to him, but that was my job though, because I was manager on duty. So if something should happen during my shift, I have to address it with them. So I have to address it. So during lunchtime, when Stan was standing outside smoking a cigarette, I went out there and to address this issue. So I said, "Hey, Stan, is there a problem or anything?" He said, "No, I don't know. No, nothing. It's nothing wrong." I said, "Man, something's wrong." He said, What's wrong? What's wrong?" I said, "Look, man, they're talking about, you know, I know you noticed that a lot of people don't want to be around you and stuff like that. They said it's a terrible smell, and I smelled it myself. I smelled it myself." And he said, "Oh, well, I do got a problem, a little problem." I said, "Well, what? Okay, well, you need to take care of that problem." And he said, "No, I can't because I have hemorrhoids." Yeah, he said he had bleeding hemorrhoids. So I told him, I said, "Look, then you need to stay off your feet." I said, look, when you get home, take a Sid's bath. Put some Epsom salt in the bath water and soak in the tub for a while. Then try to dry yourself off as much as possible. You know, and maybe it'll be okay. And see, Stan was in the military too. He was in the military before, so he could get his VA, go to the VA hospital or whatever. So I told him, I said, man, maybe you need to go to the hospital and get that taken care of. He told me, okay, all right, I will, I'll do it, I'll do it. So that was it. I talked to him. So the next day he was back at work again. This time nobody would sit in the chair where he would sit at, where Stan would sit at, because he would leave blood in the chair. So now it's getting really bad now. So I took the chair and threw it into the hall for maintenance or somebody to come pick it up and take it down to the basement and stuff. We put another chair in there. So I said, oh, this is getting bad. So actually, Stan didn't go to the doctor or nothing. He didn't even get checked out, you know. So after that, I was off for the next 2 days. Okay, I was off for 2 days. When I came back to work, it had got to other people in there, and they told upper management about it, you know. And they came to me. They said, James, come in here. Look, we're gonna have to do something about this, you know. So you're gonna have to tell him to go home, to leave, and go home, and don't come back till he get this problem taken care of, you know. So I walked around there. There he was sitting in the office. So I told him, I said, look, man, Stan, look, I like you, man. You're a good worker too, but you don't have to go home. He said, why? Why I got to go home? Why I got to go home? I said, look, I told you about this problem that you need to take care of. Now, you leaving blood in the seat. No, I'm not. I'm not leaving blood. And he lifted up, and it was blood. Sure enough, it was blood in the seat. So that's another chair that had to go. So, so I told him he need to go home. But I didn't want to do that. But hey, he was upset too. So he left. He went home. And he was supposed to go to the doctor the next day, but he couldn't produce any doctor statements or nothing like that, you know. So, excuse me. So finally, they terminate him. You know, they terminate him. You know. So then later on, I found out. I found out that he had colon cancer. Yeah, it seems that the bleeding wasn't from hemorrhoids. It was from colon cancer. So I don't know, man. It was terrible. And I don't think he could get another job either, you know, after that, you know. So, but he was really working hard because he needed the money, you know. Yeah. So I don't know what happened to him, but I think he's passed on now. I think Stan is passed on now, but R.I.P., you know. So, all right. Make sure you like, subscribe, and leave me a comment if you like. Hit that bell notification. Hit that bell notification so that you know every time I drop another video. And share, share, share. Share my videos with your family. Share my videos with your friends. Share it with your loved ones, and even share it with your enemies. Adios. Salamat.
Salami, that was terrible. Mm-mm-mm.